All right, let's get real. Johns Island, South Carolina real estate is blowing up. This once hidden gem rural land area is now becoming a booming metropolis of Charleston, South Carolina, with new construction everywhere and, yes, a lot of traffic. So if you're thinking about moving to Johns Island, this video is going to go through the pros and the cons to see if it's the right fit for you. And if you want straight talk about Charleston living, hit that subscribe button because I post new videos about moving to Charleston every single week. Hey, I'm Matt O'Neill, CEO of Matt O'Neill Real Estate, Charleston, South Carolina's #1 rated brokerage on Google. We've helped over 5,000 families buy a home here in Charleston and sold over $3 billion of Charleston real estate. I've been doing this for 20 years. I love helping people relocate to this area. And today we're going to talk about Johns Island and specifically how Johns Island has changed, where it's going, and is it the right fit for you? First things first, Johns Island is huge. It's actually the largest island in South Carolina. It's surrounded all the way around by rivers, making it an island on its own. But it's not really like an island with beaches like you might consider some islands that you think of. It's more like a really nice, big, green, lush area. It's divided into two parts, Old Johns Island and New Johns Island. Old Johns Island, like when I moved here 20 years ago, was farmland and rural, and you'd have lots of acreage. There'd be horses, old oak trees. New Johns Island, which is where we're at today, is booming with new construction, lots of new neighborhoods going in, restaurants and breweries and things to do. So you still have a mix of both the old and the new today, but the new is definitely starting to become more the norm. All right, let's talk about what makes Johns Island a really cool place to invest. I actually own 3 investment homes on Johns Island. I love it. It's close to Charleston, close to downtown. You can take Maybank Highway over to Folly Road and then over to the connector from James Island to get downtown. And depending where you're at on Johns Island, you can be downtown in about 20 minutes. That's great. It's also really close to the beaches. There's a public access beach at Kiowa Island that you can go to. And so Johns Island is in this really unique place close to the beach, close to downtown, close to James Island and Folly Beach. You can get a lot of different places from Johns Island. And it's beautiful. A lot of greenery. Angel oak tree is there, the largest oak tree in South Carolina, and which is a beautiful thing. There's lots of restaurants and things to do now that it's been coming up. Those are the pros. That's why I invest there. I think it's actually one of the best deals in Charleston still, because prices are not as high as some other areas, and it's still close to a lot of things, relatively speaking. Now let's talk about the cons. The big one, traffic. Johns Island has a lot of traffic. The main road coming in, Maybank Highway, is full of traffic. And it's because there's just not a whole lot of ways on and off the island. You've got River Road, you've got Maybank, you've got Main Road. Those are your 3 main arteries on Johns Island. And during rush hour, they just get really congested. There has been so much talk for the last 15 years about 526, which is one of the 2 highways in the Charleston area, extending down from West Ashley, where it currently ends, all the way down through Johns Island and into Kiowa. It would be a major boost for Johns Island to get this project done. I think it's going to happen, but I thought it was going to happen 5 years ago, and it still hasn't happened. When that does happen and that highway comes through Johns Island, expect the prices on Johns Island to explode because it's going to be way more accessible to the rest of the community. And anytime we see more accessibility like this with roads, prices go way up. It's one of the other reasons I really like investing here is I think that highway will get done one day and that the prices are going to go up on Johns Island. So let's talk about what are the prices on Johns Island. Well, you can buy a new construction, brand newly constructed home in like the 3,000 square foot range for about 600, 700,000. You're going to be in that for a nice new home. You're going to be in that 600 to 700,000 range. But if you're looking for acreage, like you might want 1 to 6 acres, maybe even 10 acres, and maybe you want some horses or you just want some land, you want a family compound, you can get that on Johns Island too. You could get a nice home on acreage for $1 million to 1.5. It might not be on the water at that price, but it's nice that you can still go to Johns Island and get some space and live country living. That's the old Johns Island. All right, let's talk about luxury on Johns Island. If you want luxury on Johns Island, you can get waterfront, and they have deep water. Bohicket River is right there. Deep water. You can have as big of a yacht as you want in your backyard. And those houses are going in the 2+ range, the 2 million plus range. At the end of Johns Island is Kiowa, and Kiowa is the most expensive real estate in the Charleston area. It's not part of Johns Island. It does share the same zip code, but it's its own unique market. All right, let's talk about places to eat and places to play. The best restaurants on Johns Island: Wild Olive and Royal Tavern. My family and I, we've gone to Wild Olive many times. It used to be our tradition after we had a child that we would take the family and go have a dinner at Wild Olive. I think it's the best Italian food in Charleston. Low Tide Brewery. Low Tide Brewery, man, really good beer, really good local beer. It's a fun place to hang out. The Tattooed Moose. The Tattooed Moose has got duck fat fries. So these are some really great restaurant options on Johns Island. There's the Bohicket Marina if you like to have fun. You can store your boat there, and then you can have some fun on the water. There's also the beaches, which I had mentioned at Kiowa and Seabrook Island. Both of those islands are private islands, but there's a public beach you can access there. And I had mentioned Angel Oak Tree. My family and I love visiting this tree. I think it's 1,400 years old, and it's just beautiful to see something this old and this big and this magnificent. So is Johns Island right for you? It is if you're looking for more space for your money. And if you want that kind of outdoorsy country feel while still being pretty close to Charleston. Johns Island is not for you if you really hate congested traffic. But that's really the only downside. I really like this island. I really like its real estate. I like the houses there. I like the vibe there. I think it's a really good place to own. Again, that's why I own investments on Johns Island. I'm a big fan, but there is traffic. All right, that's the real deal about Johns Island. If you got questions, leave a comment below. I read them all. I'll answer you. If you have specific questions about moving to Charleston, reach out to us, mattoneillrealestate.com. And if you love just learning about the Charleston area, make sure you hit subscribe because I drop new videos every single week. We'll see you on the next video.